It's getting so bad. The Secret Service is now allegedly saying, well, we did warn Mr. Trump that outdoor rallies are dangerous. Are you kidding me? It's so bad. To get to where the shooter's body was, right here, watch this, watch the fence right here. They literally don't even have the keys to the fence. They got like every agency here that they have to plow the fence down with a squad car. We got what look like local troopers, state troopers, guy in shirt with vest and gun drawn, Secret Service police, National Guard dude guy, or quick reaction force dude, normal guy. I don't even know what the hell is going on. They're crawling under the fence here. Then they're trying to run over to the guy's body here. That looks like Homeland Security right there, HSI. Got every department. This is like literally the department of the redundancy department. Watch, they can't even get the ladder over the fence, so now they're going to yeet it. They're going to yeet it over to the fence just to get to where the shooter's body is because it's such a disaster. Here we go. All right, boys, watch out. Whee! Oh, look at my ladder bounce. I hope it didn't break. This is so embarrassing. This is so freaking embarrassing. What is this? This is how long it takes. They don't even have like random bystanders are like, here, let's help you open the fence because you can't even. The Secret Service is absolutely starting to disgust me, specifically the director of the Secret Service, who is now alleging that the reason snipers were not positioned on the roof is because the slope of the roof was too steep. And you don't want to know what the officer saw inside of the building. We'll talk about this and more in this video update. We'll talk about the FBI accessing the shooter's phone. We'll talk about his trip to Home Depot. We'll talk about the Iranian assassination plot. We'll talk what's happening with DEI. And we'll talk about Don Jr.'s prediction for 2028. Let's get started. Hey everyone, Meet Kevin here. Thank you so much for joining. Right into the news as usual. The director of the Secret Service, I'll show you this directly here from foxnews.com. Keep in mind, when I cite a citation like CNN or Fox or whatever, sometimes they get the first scoop. I'm not trying to like only use one source here. It's just this is where they had the scoop, okay? So the director of the Secret Service is facing a blistering criticism after claiming during an interview that personnel were not positioned on top of the building where the Trump rally shooter opened fire because of the, quote, sloped roof, despite images showing snipers set up on a sloped roof behind the former president's podium. Yes, that is exactly what's now leading to substantial frustration, including Elon Musk making fun of the Secret Service, given that here, Doge designer posts just a picture of a Secret Service agent standing on the roof of the White House with a very clear slopiness. Anyway, this is just the latest sort of scandal against the Secret Service and concerns that people have, especially given the lack of comprehensive protection for the president following Iranian threats that he was a target of assassination. Now, take a look at this image because it really puts into focus how close that roof actually looked from Donald Trump's point of view. This is an angle we haven't seen yet, and it's pretty incredible because it really shows you where that rooftop is. Now, it's a little challenging to get the perspective of that. I believe Donald Trump was probably standing right about here under this crane, maybe even a little bit over towards the stage here. That way, somebody from behind him would have been able to, well, photograph some people in front of the photographer there, because we could see some folks holding signs in that other image. You see the side of a teleprompter, then you see Donald Trump, and then you see this piece of machinery here, and then you see the shooter's roof. So the perspective is a little hard to wrap our heads around, but I believe that's a decent explanation. As you can again see, teleprompter, this is clearly being taken from someone behind the stage looking out, and Trump would have probably come up on this stage, talked out towards the audience from kind of stage right, more towards the left from or the photo right here, and that would have aligned that building to his right. Again, it's a little bizarre to try to orient this just because of the depth here and the perspectives, and this looks like a zoomed photo, right? But the point of this is that's what that rooftop would have looked like roughly from Donald Trump's vantage point, and that's freaky. Oh my gosh. You know what the first thing is I think of? That is one heck of a slopey roof. Here's just a meme posted by Elon. Biggest, baddest, highest budget security agency on the planet. A slightly sloped roof. Jokes aside, we need to talk about the rangefinder situation because this is quite a bizarre story as well. Apparently, the shooter was observed using a rangefinder in just the minutes before the attack. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm trying to understand why somebody who's not an official working at the event, who doesn't have any kind of uniform on, would all of a sudden be using a rangefinder and be found outside of the building the shooter shot from without any intervention. Any single officer could have gotten out of the building they were in where they saw him and at least asked him questions. Simply asking questions could have stopped this from happening. So I'm going to show you that information here. It's a CBS News article. Sniper took picture of Trump rally before shooter. Saw him use rangefinder before assassination attempt. You got to read this, or I'll just read it to you. You got to see some of this because it's absolutely wild. I mean, personally, it blows my mind that we had such a lack of communication. But watch this. The sniper was one of 3 snipers, members of the local tactical team, who were stationed inside the building the sniper used to attack. The operations plan had them stationed inside, looking out of the windows towards the rally, scanning the crowd. Okay, got it. So they were going to use the windows to shoot from rather than the roof if they needed to counter-snipe, basically. Okay, I guess nobody's going to cover the roof? Fine. It's too slopey of a roof. The details of the 3 snipers were first reported by local news, beavercountin.com. All right. One sniper inside spotted the gunman, Thomas Matthew Crooks, outside, looking up at the roof, observing the building and disappearing. Okay, so here's like Q1. There's a sus dude outside checking out the building we are sniping from. Yeah, nobody should go check this out. No problem at all. Whatever. The sniper observed Cooks as he returned to the building, so this is now the second time to the building, sat down and looked at his phone. At this point, one of the local snipers took a picture of Crooks. Again, nobody wants to walk outside, nobody wants to intervene with him. Nope, we're gonna stay inside because even though there's a sus dude outside, we're stationed inside. Next, the local sniper observed Crooks looking through a rangefinder, an instrument routinely used by marksmen to determine the distance of a target. Yes, okay. So, gee, I wonder, what would somebody use a rangefinder for? Well, how about, there's a president coming, and we've known about assassination attempts or plots against Donald Trump from previous intel that the Secret Service has received. We'll talk about that Iranian plot in just a moment. And there's somebody here near a building with a direct line of sight of the president using a rangefinder. They're probably just doing research. Maybe they're an architect or an engineer because, yeah, you know, a rangefinder rather than like an engineering laser is totally normal outside of a presidential rally. The story just gets worse and worse. And he immediately radioed to the command post. Thank you. Finally, somebody did something. So they radioed to the command post. Hey, I'm assuming, okay? Command, got someone here with a rangefinder scoping out our building. Apparently, crickets. Because the local sniper attempted to send a photo of the gunman up the chain of command. Who knows, maybe they didn't have service inside the metal building. Entirely possible, inside that glass factory-owned building. And the command post basically didn't respond. It's unclear if the command post even received the alert. Well, I guess command didn't get my selfie or whatever of the guy with the rangefinder scoping out the building we're stationed out of. Oh, well. Look, this makes my blood boil. This is so stupid. Officials then lost Crooks again. So this is the second time he disappeared. But no, it didn't take 2 times of them being sussed out by Crooks. He came back a 3rd time, but this time Crooks came back with a backpack. Oh, This is so ridiculous. I'm sorry. This is extremely frustrating to me and very sad. The local sniper team called for backup. Guys, man with backpack, we need a backup. We have snipers and 50 cals and sidearms in here, but we need backup. Alerting the command post that the gunman had a backup and was walking towards the back of the building, or had a backpack and was walking towards the back of the building. By the time other local officers responded to the backup request, the gunman had scaled the building, positioned himself above and behind the local snipers inside the building. 2 other Muni officers attempted to climb onto the roof. This is where, from other stories we hear, because it's not mentioned here, that one of the officers was on the stairs, or on the ladder, rather. At the same time, Crooks then pointed his rifle at the officer, and then the officer fell off the roof. Okay, so they do mention that he did fall off the roof. Okay, I didn't know that they mentioned in this story. This is something we've heard of for a couple days now, that an officer was on the ladder and fell off the roof when Crooks pointed the AR at him. Wow, okay. And then moments later, the shooter began firing into the crowd. This is very important because a lot of folks I see on social are saying the snipers had the shooter in their sights for, many minutes. It's possible. But my assumption, and this is just my take, my assumption is, I don't know, do we have like something here? Sure, we'll use this dagger, okay? My assumption was that shooter, was essentially on that roof, bear crawled his way up on that roof, and you kind of got this edge here, and the snipers probably saw the guy's head and thought, okay, well, we don't see a firearm until, like I've talked about in other videos, shoot, don't shoot. Until we see a firearm, we're not going to shoot. I'm assuming he probably had his rifle on his side. Could have been his left side or his right side. Left might make sense if he was right-handed, because then if he's lying like this on the roof, he could essentially turn around, kick out a leg, and turn around like this and point down at the ladder where the officer was coming up. Officer falls down. The sniper might be seeing this, the counter snipers behind Trump, not the ones inside the buildings. The ones in the buildings, they're probably still trying to get service. Anyway, at that point, the shooter's probably like, I'm cooked, and probably turns like this and goes for the shot. And that's probably why he missed, because he's like, oh, I've been caught. Oh no, the cops are on me. Go time. Turns, goes for the shot, doesn't, maybe his heart rate's up, his breathing's off, whatever, and, all it takes is a slight motion on your rifle and you miss. Breathing is critical when it comes to shooting. So my guess is him turning around and flipping over is actually the first time the snipers saw the rifle, and I think that's where you see the sniper go, huh? There's a gun? Oh, we're being shot at! And goes in for the kill shot. That's my take, but again, me sort of trying to reenact this here is just my assumption. It could be totally wrong, but it's still disgusting to me that somebody can be walking around with a rangefinder. It's literally like, somebody may as well just be walking around, with like, I don't know, a holster or a mag, or there may as well just be somebody like literally walking around the outside, pumping up a mag, sitting around out there going, all right, boys, I got me some 9mm here. Don't mind me. Like, it just, I'm laughing because it's so ridiculous to me that nothing was done to at least, like, somebody might at least walk out and say, hey, man, why are you pumping up a mag? Why are you looking down a rangefinder? This is weird. Okay. Anyway, so that's just part of the news that's going on here, which is pretty wild to me. But let's get into some of the other stuff because it just keeps going. So Don Jr. had an opinion about the future of the Republican Party after this. Obviously, Don Jr. expects that Donald Trump is going to win. But what's fascinating is Donald Trump's or Don Jr.'s prediction for 2028. He thinks J.D. Vance is going to go from being VP to being president. A little side note I wanted to mention there before we keep going on with the shooter discussion and some other news. So, jumping back over, totally out of order, sorry. Anyway, jumping back over to the shooter. Apparently the shooter went to Home Depot to purchase a ladder. They found a receipt, the FBI found a receipt of his ladder purchase the same weekend of the shooting. which the shooting was Saturday, so that Saturday, presumably, probably that morning or whatever, since the shooting happened about 15 minutes after 6. The FBI did get access to the shooter's phone. It's also worth noting that there are some folks on social media saying, oh, well, you know, if the FBI just gets a warrant from, you know, to search the person's phone, Apple will just unlock the person's phone if it's an iPhone. This is actually entirely incorrect. Apple has made it pretty clear that they don't unlock phones. They actually say that they would love to cooperate with authorities. They have a whole piece on this. They would love to, you know, help authorities if they could, but they basically say that we don't have a separate operating system, and as much as we would like to help the FBI in cases of unlocking people's phones, we can't because we just don't have a backdoor system. Sorry. I actually thought it was sort of brilliant press by Apple, because what they really sent a signal of is, hey, we don't have the tools to help you, FBI. Whatever y'all use to try to crack into our systems is up to you, but we don't have the tools to do it. I thought that was pretty clutch, actually, by Apple. And I don't know that the shooter used an iPhone, but the point is, the FBI has gotten access to the shooter's phone. However, after interviews, searching his phone, his computer, and exploring his search history, they haven't found anything to suggest any kind of political or ideological impetus as to why this person ended up shooting at Donald Trump and, you know, killing Corey, which is so sad. By the way, Corey's fundraiser and the fundraiser for all the victims is at almost $5 million, which is remarkable. I will link that fundraiser down below again. It's worth noting Elon Musk has donated $100,000 to that very fundraiser. I'll link it below. I've linked it in a prior video too. You can see they're almost at $5 million. And if you go to top donors, you can see some other top donors who've been donating to this. You've got, let's see here. There is a way to go to see all, oh, see top right here. And Launchpad Strategies donated. Catherine Oxenberg, 50K. Launchpad Strategies, 50K. Elon Musk, 100K. Stephen Wynn from Wynn Resorts in Vegas. Kenny G from Citadel. You've got the Heritage Foundation. Dana White, Kid Rock. Vivek's over here at 30. And yeah, look at that. You got some donations over there. Okay, so that's on donations for Corey. Elon Musk also donating to them. Now, so we've talked about the issue with the backpack and the rangefinder. We've talked about Home Depot. We've talked about, you know, his phone being unlocked and people not being able to find a motive. I think it's entirely possible that this is just a person who, unfortunately, was a very unhappy person, didn't really have a reason to live. You know, no kids, no job that maybe they found meaningful, no purpose in life. And people always ask me, they're like, Kevin, when are you going to retire? You know, what is this? Why do you work so hard? It's like, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy doing things. It's not about win, win, win. You know, like you've seen on like Seinfeld, you don't only want to win. Unfortunately, it's possible that somebody of this person's state of mind might have just been very depressed. He might have felt like he just wanted to sleep and hang out alone and basically do nothing. And so he didn't really have purpose in his life. Again, no children, no job that he cared for or purpose. And so maybe he just had this impulsive idea that, hey, maybe this is what I'm meant to do. Maybe I'm supposed to be the, you know, attempted assassin. Gets this idea, buys a ladder that morning. It doesn't actually look like it was heavily premeditated. It literally looks like it's, hey, I'm gonna go buy 50 bullets, take my dad's gun, go buy a ladder, and let's go. Really sad. Really, really sad, which reiterates why it's so challenging to probably find any kind of documentation here on this person. But what is pretty sad also is that there is now information that the Secret Service has been advised that there was an Iranian plot to assassinate Donald Trump as retaliation for the Soleimani airstrike that happened outside of the Baghdad airport by Donald Trump, well, under Donald Trump's order, in 2020. Donald Trump actually regularly has discussed how proud he is of that, how, you know, even Trump's family argues that Trump created stability in the Middle East by taking out Soleimani. And really, a lot of folks look at this and say, hey, you know, if y'all knew Donald Trump, was a target by the Iranians for retaliation, why was security so lax? I mean, we've gone through some of the lax issues here on security. On top of that, the Secret Service is now arguing, well, we told the Trump campaign that outdoor rallies were dangerous. Oh, okay. So, hey, we told you it was dangerous. Oh, and by the way, the Secret Service isn't responsible for that building. Local police are responsible for that building. Well, news reporters have hit up the local police department, and guess what the local Butler City Police says? No, we're not responsible. It was actually the state police that were responsible for that building. Oh, this is one of the most bureaucratic failures I've ever seen. So bad. Anyway, something else that's going on now is obviously there has been a lot of anti-DEI after all of this, not because necessarily the women Secret Service agents around Donald Trump had trouble holstering their weapons, well, one of them did, or that they were potentially substantially smaller in stature than Donald Trump, not able to provide the actual cover they maybe should have been able to for Donald Trump. Not because they necessarily did anything wrong, these are just sort of comments that came up. But it is interesting to note that at the RNC, if you look at Donald Trump's inner circle, it's all tall men. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 tall men right around Donald Trump. You do have some female Secret Service officers you can't really see in this video clip here that are standing sort of on crowd control right in front of the crowd here. But the actual inner circle right here around Donald Trump, all tall dudes. All around him. Yeah, here's a female, what looks like Secret Service agent here in the back. So, very interesting difference. And so now apparently making this observation is now considered misogynistic. Now, I talked to my wife about this. I'm like, is this misogynist to make this observation? She's like, no, it's like if your job is to tackle and body protect someone and you're half the size of somebody else, then maybe you shouldn't be responsible for protecting that person and maybe somebody larger should be in that position. It's just a straight up physical concept. It's not a race thing. It's not a sex thing. It's just straight up physics. Anyway, a lot of folks on social are now saying that if you go for the letters DEI, you end up with the letters DIE. In other words, diversity, equity, and inclusion turns into death. Some people make that argument because they say, hey, you know, if a certain diversity hire for a doctor is hired over somebody more qualified, is there potentially a greater chance of malpractice? And then, you know, one more person dies at the margin that shouldn't have died because, you know, somebody more qualified was bypassed. You know, this is obviously something a lot of people debate, but I personally have always been a big fan of whoever's most qualified for the job should get the job. So I'm not a big fan of like, you've been there the longest, or you're from a country, or you're not from a country, or you're a certain race or religion. I've never been a big fan of that. It's crazy, you know, people said I was not, see, I was born in Germany, and people are like, oh, you're born in Germany, you must hate Jews. I'm like, when I ran for governor, at one point, I think and it probably still is true, I think the biggest populace of type of employee I've hired has been Jew. Like, the amount of Jewish people I've hired has been crazy. It's by far the most common religion, and not because I was looking for that. It's just we used to joke. We're like, Kevin, did you realize you hired this many people that are Jewish? I'm like, I had no idea. Not that there's anything. I don't care. I literally don't care what your religion is, what your sex is, what your color. I don't give a crap about any of that. Just like, can you do a great job and can you work hard? It's that simple. And if you're not qualified to do the job, I don't want you. And you know, if you need to be a certain size to do a certain job and you're not that size, then I guess you don't check the box. I don't know. Maybe that's the unpopular opinion. Maybe I'm going to get canceled for saying that. It's just my take. Anyway, hopefully this gives you a nice little sort of summary of some of what's going on here. If you find this useful, consider subscribing, share the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye and good luck.
Because these things that you told us here, I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.
Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, licensed real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is not personalized advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show shall not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purposes of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services we may benefit from. I also personally operate an actively managed ETF. I may personally hold or otherwise hold long or short positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuer other than HouseHack, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. Make sure if you're considering investing in HouseHack to always read the PPM at househack.com.